Hey guys, this is Impact Hall of Famer Gail Kim, and you are watching the Countdown City WrestleCast.
What's up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your host, JC, and I'm joined this week by my tag team partner, Mike.
I'm Mike, and this is 2020.
And together we're Mega Powers 2020 version, maybe?
Yeah, brother.
It's, since we started the show and you got on here, I was waiting for the time we were going to just do a show, me and you, especially since we've been fans. Well, you've been fans since we were kids. You longer than me.
3.
He got me back into it in 97 in high school, so now here we are. Years later.
This is the dream.
This is the dream.
with all love to our not here members, of course. But.
Yes, yeah. Tommy and Tina, pretty exhausted. If you watched our reaction videos, this is a pretty fun thing. We, of course, did the men's one live. We had recorded a women's one. We couldn't get the stream set up just right. But we were able to get the men's one going just before that match. But the women's one is up online if you haven't watched it yet. Watch our reactions and you kind of follow along. Watch it on the network on like another device and kind of follow along our reactions. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Highlights, and we'll get into that later. So
yeah, and I think if you look at both of them, and we can get into the way the different Rumbles were, but like it's kind of funny because obviously both of them were kind of structured in a different way. So
yeah,
clearly one's reaction obviously got on a certain way, and then the other one. So
telling great stories though. But yeah, we'll talk about that. We are talking Worlds Collide and the Royal Rumble, recapping both shows. Should be a short show, just the two of us here. Of course, our Twitter account at @CCG_WrestleCast. I'm going to point this time.
Yeah.
And you're watching this on the Countdown City Geeks YouTube channel. We got a lot of new subscribers. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, everybody, for the comments, too, on our videos. Feel free to hit the subscribe button if you're watching this and you're curious what other content we have.
Hit that button.
Hit that. We try to talk wrestling just about every week. I get interviews here and there. I'm trying to line up a lot more this year. And we're talking everything. WWE, AEW, NXT, New Japan, whatever's out there. Impact. ROH, of course.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
I think we might need to start getting into some more NWA power, too.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I didn't put it on the agenda, but we'll talk real quickly because Friday night, I, and Tommy, we went to Heavy Metal Wrestling. If you're not familiar with them, you can look up their Twitter account is @HeavyMetalPro, and they are on Twitch, twitch.tv/HeavyMetalWrestling. Their latest show was on Twitch live. We were there at the 502 bar. It was my personal first heavy metal wrestling show. I, of course, had interviewed Dylan last year. Oh, man, he still got that passion. The show was great. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
The best part about doing it in a bar like that where there's already a lot of traffic, you get a lot of people that pack that bar, not expecting to see wrestling, but they get entranced with it. So you got a good show out of it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yes. For me, it was also the first time I'd seen Sue Young live ever since she started doing the Undead Bride. Yeah. That entrance is awesome. It is epic, and she is just hell of a talent. It's amazing seeing her live, and I remember seeing her on the Indies.
Yeah,
seen her on Impact. She got over big with the Undead Bride. Still does it. Seeing her live, it's amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean the last time we saw her, it was like Pikachu.
Yeah.
And. Yeah, no, he's right. Ever since she made the transformation, the dedication to the character and just the presence she brings, it was awesome. And
even in a way, kind of working the crowd a bit too. And her opponent, Prince Adam, I think his name was.
Yeah,
he was funny, like perfect cholo gimmick to the point where that top button never came off.
San Antonio.
Yes, but even then. Crazy psycho face painted chick, and he's still trying to. What's up, mommy?
Yeah, he went to the bar, got a couple of. Well, he got a couple tequila shots.
He drank one. She almost drank one, but
no, I think
tried to get her to take her shirt off.
Drinking them both because he was trying to hit on her, and but yeah, fun time, very entertaining.
Masada's great as always.
Oh Jesus,
yes.
Yeah, Masada's Masada. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of talent. They got a new champion there. For all the slack Heavy Metal got with the whole Tessa Blanchard controversy, they came out and put on an impressive show.
Yes.
And the production on the Twitch show was great. It was done so well. Check it out on Twitch. It's going to be up there. They have a lot of good shows. That one is still up on their channel if you haven't seen it yet.
I do have one complaint, and I want to say this as nicely as possible.
What is that?
So they got a new champion.
Yeah.
I forgot the guy's name, but his gimmick
cowboy
is,
gimmick.
He's kind of a cowboy gimmick.
Yeah.
He's
the
a
sheriff.
He's a heel. He's a sheriff. All right.
Yeah.
He comes out to Neon Moon by George Strait, and that is not a heel song. I'm sorry. The whole bar was singing it.
Yeah.
That's not how you get heat. That's how you get everyone on your side. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, there got to be a good heel country song out there. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. I have no idea.
There's got to be something like sell out and go corporate or something.
Yeah,
like that's anti-cowboy. Right?
And just to be funny, make it man, I feel like a woman. That'd be funny. Great country heel song, right? So
that'd be awesome.
Anyway, Heavy Metal Pro, thanks for having us out there, Dylan. You're doing a great job.
Yes.
I love the show. It's been awesome. Everybody involved with that locker room and that talent was pretty awesome.
And shout out to Gregory Irons and Veda Scott, who were both there.
Yes.
Had a fun show and kind of got back to teaming up together. I know they have done stuff in the past. Veda Scott, just like Sue Young, was someone who we saw at an ACW Queen of Queens tournament years ago. Just been following them on social media and stuff and throughout the years. And so I know she had done stuff with Gregory Irons. And Gregory Irons, with the cerebral palsy, still impressive.
Pretty inspirational.
Yeah, like really awesome. The guy he was facing was a lot bigger than him, but he had fun with it. He had a great match and super nice guy. We got to talk to them briefly after, not afterwards, but like at the intermission for stuff. At least I did. So shout out to them too, and all the other talent. There's a lot of young talent I had never seen before. We had never seen.
Yeah.
And just good matches all across the board.
Impressed with everything, even the quality of the TV. They had multiple cameras working. Yeah. It was really well done. So I was even seeing that on the Twitch comments as they were watching. I was like, oh my god, this is a full on show. There's not just a hard cam locked in. So yeah, it was really good. A lot of fun. Check it out if you haven't already. Their next show, I believe they have one coming up in February. If you're going to WrestleMania, they're going to be doing a joint show with a bunch of San Antonio or a bunch of Texas promotions. In Tampa. I believe it's on Thursday night of WrestleMania week at WrestleCon. So that's going to be a huge show.
There's a whole bunch of Texas promotions working together and putting on I think it's basically just
it's nice to see.
Texas Rule show.
It is nice to see, actually. Yeah. So, all right, on to Worlds Collide. We'll talk briefly about that. Really, this was promoted heavily as NXT versus NXT UK. We did, of course, get a title change. Jordan Devlin, who we all hoped would win.
Yes.
And very happy he won the Cruiserweight title.
And a great four-way.
Yes, which means that Angel Garza, whatever his last name is. Angel Garza is in line to definitely get a U.S. title shot because he is of Hispanic descent, because that seems that's the only people that get U.S. title shots now. Let's just say it. It's just true.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes.
But very happy to see Devlin get something. I think he's been a very underrated talent, kind of hidden away in NXT UK. And I like the idea that the Cruiserweight title is going to be something shared between the two.
Yeah.
You could have guys invading back and forth.
I hope they keep that going. I mean,
yeah.
I assume Devlin's not just going to take it to NXT UK and keep it there. No. So hopefully they get to come back and forth and they kind of continue this a little bit.
He'll probably be defending it in Portland in a couple weeks too.
Yeah,
so
I hope so.
We'd love to see that. The biggest match of the night, obviously, Undisputed Era versus Imperium. And this was interesting. Of course, Undisputed Era had already having a big year where they ended up with all the gold. This past Wednesday, lost one. Roderick Strong lost North American title to Keith Lee. Mm-hmm. San Antonio guys were very happy to see that. That was really cool. Yeah. Watching the video of him getting the plates put on it too afterward was pretty emotional, having seen him come up through RCW was my first exposure to him and everything. Yeah. So, but one Imperium kind of went a man down on like a unintentional but a scary kick to the face.
Yeah, Alexander Wolf.
Yes,
is the one formerly of Sanity.
And they knocked him out, and it was a scary seeing that. It's like, okay, but for having to call an audible, I'm sure they had a lot of stuff planned with him mid-match. They put together a hell of a tag team match with 4-on-3.
Yeah, I feel bad. The other two. So I talked about this in the past, and I think I even made this comment on one of the previous shows that I felt like after Walter, the Imperium guys, just not as well known. You know, so I was thinking Undisputed Era, those are four well-respected, long-tenured guys. But after Alexander Wolf went out, unfortunately, the other two guys in Imperium, the guys that regularly tag team, their names escape me at the moment, really stepped up and actually really impressed me, keeping it going 4-3. Obviously, you kind of have to audible that whole thing because now a man's out, and so I'm sure there's things that were planned that he probably would have been involved in. You got to kind of shuffle around.
Yeah.
they did a great job of keeping going, and honestly, it just made Walter look like a beast.
They really did,
man, and just fighting back over and over.
And on top of that too, it speaks a lot to their talent to early on lose a person,
right,
and still be able to put on some crazy high spots, still tell a great story in the match, and go with it. And by the end, Walter coming out on top for Imperium. It's going to be a rough year for Undisputed Era, I think, especially after they had a year of so much success.
I think that might be what's coming. Yeah, slowly but surely chipping away at it, and see what happens.
That's going to be huge, yeah. So Worlds Collide, I'm enjoying this. I don't know. I kind of I hope it's a once-a-year thing between the two. Obviously, I think at the takeovers, maybe you might see something back and forth. Maybe we'll get more takeovers in the UK as well, which would be kind of cool.
That'd be kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I mean, and overall, it was a great show, and we haven't even gotten to the tag match, DIY and Mustache Mountain.
Yes,
two over face teams, a lot of fun at the beginning.
They should have put their facial hair on the line. I'm just saying.
But once it got going, that was a hell of a match. All four men are impressive, of course. We know that. Tyler Bate, he's still so young.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope he gets main roster at some point and a chance to really go against some of the bigger names. But
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if I'll see it this year. Maybe like a Royal Rumble surprise next year or something.
Maybe in a year or two. But I mean, he's like a 24, 22, something like that.
Yeah, he's young.
So, but yeah, that one.
Ripley versus Storm.
Yeah.
I'll say it wasn't as good as their first go around.
Right.
But it's still a good match.
But it was also a different story, I think.
Yeah.
So,
mm-hmm.
Tony Storm's kind of hitting this real desperate to win, to get that title back, to avenge stuff, and as opposed to last time they had the match where she was kind of the was the last time when
she beat Rhea for
right?
the NXT UK Women's title. Yeah.
So she was kind of overcoming that. So yeah, I can definitely see not quite as good, but still a high level match.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Pre-show was Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to see Mia Yim get this shot as well.
Yeah.
And appearing in the Rumble too later on. So,
right.
overall a good show. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out on demand on the WWE Network. Really a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Rumble, and by now you've seen our reactions to the men's and women's Rumbles. We have them up on YouTube. Like I said,
go watch them.
Yes, go watch them. It was a lot of fun doing that. And of course we. A lot of emotions here. But on the pay-per-view itself, it went for the most part how we expected it. Definitely called the pre-show. I have my things here. Andrade retaining, Sheamus retaining. The Falls Count Anywhere match opened the show. And of the matches Roman and Corbin had, I really hope this is the last one because this is the one that was actually really, really good. And this is honestly... I kind of enjoyed this because it was a false count. Most of the time you see them start in the ring and then it ends up everywhere and they use weapons and everything. These guys actually told a great story without barely even touching the ring.
Yeah.
They didn't even use it. It all kind of made sense. Yes, we did get a subtle shot at the Astros thanks to Dolph Ziggler. I don't know if you caught it.
I mean, there was a trash can there, but did he actually?
He banged it twice and then he banged the top twice, hit him with the top, banged the can twice, then hit him with the can. Okay. So it was Ziggler's subtle shot for the Astros. And I was like, okay, thank you. And you got it out of the way. Great. I don't think anybody really caught it. They didn't really say in the commentary, but.
Because I saw the trash can, but I thought he just knocked it out of the way.
It was a random trash can out in freaking center field. It's like, what's the point?
There was a lot of stuff around.
I know. So I caught it real quick. I was like, okay, Ziggler's kind of smooth like that. He'll make a subtle shot. I get it. But you know what? We still champs, still Mastros. But yeah, so. Love that it ended on top of a dugout. Yes. If you're going to do it in a baseball stadium,
that was kind of awesome.
Yeah. So
and good use of the Usos and Rude and Ziggler as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you knew they were going to get involved, but they had that one spot where I don't know which Uso was which, but one of them was starting to get pulled away and got beat up by Rude and Ziggler, and then I think you hear one of them go, "He's up there," and he had climbed one of the production scaffolding, and then jumped onto all of them. So,
and honestly, I think the only reason they finished on the dugout is they couldn't find a way to get on top of the railroad tracks because it's pretty high up there.
Right. And then Corbin did go in a porta potty.
Yes, a random porta potty because
Luckily, they knocked him over, but I don't think anything came out.
Yeah, I don't think they had anything in there. It was like an empty one on wheels.
One.
Yeah, it was a kayfabe one, exactly. It was rigged. It would have been funny, though, if they made a Torchy's Tacos in center field as well. So, anyway, the rest of the matches pretty we expected for the most part. Bailey retained. It wasn't really too eventful a match. Kind of cheated to win, if you will.
Still,
yeah,
a little confused on Lacey's character.
The whole face turn.
I know she's
been kind of weird.
I know she's getting cheers. I just don't feel like it's fully defined. I don't think she's still ready for like that full run at a title. I know they'll probably give one to her soon.
Yeah.
But Bailey's clearly the wrestler and really kind of,
carrying that
directed
story.
That match. I don't say carry it, but she directed that match and got a pretty decent one out of them. So.
Becky versus Asuka. Interesting to note, though, that the Women's Royal Rumble took place before these two title matches.
Right.
Most of the time, we might have thought that they were, between maybe the result of the title match and that affected last year's. But this year, no, the Women's Rumble was first, so we knew coming out of this that Charlotte was going to be the winner. Had already won the Women's Rumble. So Becky versus Asuka. Told a good story with this one. Asuka being the one person Becky could not beat until today, or till yesterday, and getting her to tap out as well.
And the way she finally reversed the mist onto her,
that was cool.
Blocked it and prevented her from using it.
Yeah.
Solid match. Those two always. Kairi Sane trying to get involved and stuff, and it was a good match, and I think we all, Tommy picked Asuka, right?
Tommy picked Asuka, and he picked Lacey Evans. He actually picked two title changes on the women, and neither one happened. So, the Universal Championship in a strap match, and the heat lamp was off for this one.
Yeah,
we joke that it's always on. Maybe, oh my God, Daniel Bryan's got a chance. There's no heat lamp,
And we hated it for so long, but the Fiend in just regular light is a little not. It's. I don't know. He looks more normal, I think.
I think part of the reason they didn't do it in the red was, one, the strap. You really have to. The strap has to be a focal point. And maybe they couldn't see it. But I think also just for the things that they did, some of the submission holds Daniel Bryan put him in and things like that.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't have the same effect under the red. You know? So
that might be true.
But if the heat lamp is a big thing, as we've joked, and it might be, I don't think the Fiend looked as strong in this match as he has previously.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So.
And that's, the danger with doing a character now, like doing that now as opposed to Undertaker in the 90s when they first kind of started him being indestructible. He's wrestling a lot. You can't make. Daniel Bryan's one of your biggest guys, and I think he looked really good in this match.
He did, yeah.
I feel like there was a few times you could have believed that he was going to pull off the victory. But the Fiend being indestructible in the end, I think there's more weakness. I think those first couple of matches where he took like 30 curve stomps from Rollins, I think they're dialing that back finally to show like maybe.
Yeah.
Which, hopefully I assume will lead to WrestleMania match. But
which we assume based on today. We'll get to based on the Rumble results who it could be. So. Now, we'll talk the Women's Rumble first because that did take place first. This was kind of your standard one. Interestingly, Alexa Bliss for Bianca Belair started it. Both of them had impressive runs in this Rumble. Belair, you were counting them, 9 eliminations.
Well, I thought it was 9. I've started to see now that it was, or people are reporting that it was 8. So I don't know if I miscounted or got an extra one that they had already counted.
Mm-hmm.
But they're saying it's 8 because someone else also threw out 8 at the end.
Okay.
They did a really good job of putting Bianca Belair over without getting her to the end of the show.
Yeah. I love that Alexa was using her hair to stay alive a couple times too.
I figured at some point, I didn't think it would specifically be Alexa, but her hair being such a weapon, I figured at some point someone had to try that. I thought more instead of just going over the top, like they might try to pull it through and hold on. But yeah,
or pull her over the top through her hair or something like that.
Yeah. I thought it would eventually be used against her in a match that big.
Some surprise entrance we got. First, Mighty Molly.
Yes.
Not just Molly Holly, but Mighty Molly, which is really good. She came out number 3. Mercedes Martinez, if you go back and watch our reaction, that was probably the biggest reaction we got. She recently signed, of course, announced as part of the Performance Center, has been in the Mae Young Classic. I almost said Mae Young Classic like we said last week.
Yeah, we did.
Has appeared for AEW, has been all over, and to finally see her on the big stage in the Rumble was pretty damn awesome. So
that was awesome for her, and she spent a decent amount of time in it.
Mm-hmm.
Had some good face-offs with Belair and Mia Yim, I think, and a few other people. Pretty good for your first time showing up finally.
Yep. Charlotte, of course, came in at 17. Naomi returned.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, we also got to go to one of the funniest things of the night, of course.
Which
was Mandy
Rose and Otis.
And
yes.
Otis.
First off, so that was it was weird at first. We were looking at the hard cam, and you just see Alexa throw Mandy over the ropes. And
But
Mandy kind of
it
rolls
wasn't
up.
immediate, right? Like she
No.
kind of went onto the apron and then rolled off. You're like, okay.
Oh, wait, what happened? And then they cut around, and she landed on Otis, who was there to save her, make sure she didn't get eliminated.
Oh yeah. that was one of the more memorable moments in recent memory.
Prior to the match, though, they did have a quick promo with Mandy and Sonya Deville, and Sonya basically said, if it comes down to me and her, I'm taking myself out and letting you have this. That's how much I love you. So I feel like they're working some sort of like love triangle storyline with Sonya Deville and Otis. Sonya Deville's been pretty outspoken about the whole pseudo-lesbian storyline they did with Liv Morgan and Lana.
Yeah.
Because that was a storyline that they were working on with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. And her idea, they kind of had hints of it on TV, and then they just scrapped it.
Right.
And they gave it to somebody else. So
that's
which kind of messed up. So I kind of hope that they run with this and they can make it pretty interesting. But Otis, I'm loving his crush on Mandy Rose. It's pretty hilarious,
it
you know.
and he really saved her twice at first.
Yeah.
Because then Deville did come out. They were setting someone up and they moved and Deville accidentally hit Rose and she caught him. And then I don't remember who, but it might have been Belair.
It might have been Belair. That
Probably
threw.
was.
Yeah.
Tossed out Deville onto both of them, and Otis couldn't catch both of them.
Yeah. That would have been impressive if he did, though.
Yeah.
So
I thought for a second as she was going over, he might. But.
it almost looked like he did, and then he just couldn't take it down. So that was really cool. Tamina returning, but didn't last very long.
No.
I was actually surprised with that. So
I just every time I see her, and you don't see her that often now. She just looks like she can't move as well or kind of stay in long matches.
yeah.
So I don't know how much we'll see of her going forward. It might have just been for this.
Yeah. I mentioned Naomi returning, full on, just letting the hair flow, looking like Foxy Cleopatra from the Austin Powers movie. She did great. She had the big save the elimination spot of the night, hanging onto the wall, and then just kind of chilling on the announcers' tables until everybody came in, which is pretty smart.
Yeah.
You figure people would think to do that, right?
Well, then honestly, after listening to the New Day podcast today or Monday, it came out where Kofi's talking about his different ones throughout the years, it almost makes me wonder if they had something set up and then it didn't quite work out. So she really was trying to figure out, because it looked for a while like she was trying to figure out if she was going to jump or whatever. And maybe they told her to stay out there and just let people come in. But, eventually she got the cover on top and turned it into a little bridge.
Which surprised me. I figured she could have at least jumped to the stairs. But
she probably, when she first looked like she was going to jump, I was like, knock that thing down, because, obviously it gives you a little more room. But, it worked out. They always seem to work out, luckily for all those people who attempt them. So, even though Kofi mentioned today, sometimes they were on the edge of not working out.
But the pressure's on there. You got to make it work. So, Beth Phoenix back for another Rumble. Had a scary moment where she got a gash, just hit her head on the back of the thing.
There was a video. They were on the top rope, and WWE has those new, they're not new. They've kind of been around a while now.
Yeah.
The posts that are real round and solid, and then they're like metal grate, or not grate, but like metal on top, basically.
Yeah.
And they just happened to be kind of doing a spot, and she threw her head back and just hit it, and immediately I think it was with Belair.
It was Belair who grabbed her, protector.
Grabbed her, and then the ref jumped up to kind of check real quick.
Yeah, the ref was on top of it.
And
so
Beth was like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah, Beth kept going. You can see the blood coming through, but man, she finished the match. She is definitely tough, and it was really good to see that. She had some really good spots. Turned on her old tag team partner, Natalya, at one point.
Well, because Natalya did it to her either last year or the year before. Maybe it was
That's right. It might have been 2 years ago.
Because I went back to watch a little bit of it, and when we were over here, it was hard to hear the commentary as much. But when they came out and they kind of had their Divas of Doom reunion, one of the announcers mentioned, well, don't forget that Natalya threw her out last year and kind of in a similar thing. So, that was obviously a little, shout out to that, doing it back the other way. And then obviously they wanted Beth Phoenix there pretty close toward the end. Because I think the final four was Divas of Doom, Baszler, and then
Charlotte Flair. Shotzi Blackheart, good to see her make an appearance. She was in a 26. Cool. Santina Marella, probably the most controversial entrant. There's been reports that some people are mad that he took a spot from another woman that could have been in the Rumble. Yeah, I kind of see that, but I figure the third one in, you gotta throw a little comedy spot in there. And we joked on the first one that Santina had to make an appearance, But I see the idea that, okay, you're just taking a spot for somebody else. It was a quick, not even less than a minute, giving himself Cobra and getting knocked out.
And, well, okay, first of all, my biggest problem with it was 29 was one of my numbers. And I thought 29, that's a pretty good spot. I mean, I could have done without it, but at least in storyline context, Santino has a history with Beth Phoenix. They had a storyline romance for years. And in a sense, he didn't do anything. He eliminated himself because he didn't want to mess with either Beth and Natalya. So
yeah, if he had gotten any eliminations, it would have had a lot of heat on there.
Were there other women they could have put in there? Obviously, there was NXT women. The Iconics. I don't even know if the Iconics are on the road right now with them.
I don't know. We haven't seen them on TV or anything like that.
But am I going to throw a big hissy fit about it? Not really.
No,
because we know it. It wasn't. Obviously, he's not. Santina's not going to win it. No one you're going to replace in there was going to win it. It would have been cool to have been in there, but it's WWE.
Yeah. Shayna Baszler, of course, was number 30, who was the odds-on favorite to win, at least from betting odds. The final elimination, I think, for me, that was kind of weird.
I don't know if it played out exactly the way they had planned it. It's Beth Phoenix, Baszler, and Charlotte. Baszler and Phoenix actually go over together. Charlotte thought she had eliminated them both. They knock off Beth, and then Baszler's about to eliminate Charlotte. She skins the cat, holds on. She comes up once for that. We've seen that spot throughout the years where they grab them, their legs, grab them around the head, then flip them over. But she caught her. They
stopped
did
it.
The awkward thing.
Yeah.
She thought she pushed her back over. Then they kind of just did it again, where Charlotte kind of grabbed her better with her legs and pulled her over. So,
yeah, and
I don't know if it was exactly done as planned.
And my thought is, with the way Baszler has been pretty ruthless, it would have made more sense if you're stuck in that spot. Why didn't she just run and drop kick her while she's hanging and knock her out that way? Right. Then again, also them being the final two, I thought maybe you could have given them at least a couple minutes inside the ring doing something.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's just my thought on it. But still, you would figure it was going to be Shayna or Charlotte. Charlotte does end up winning. I'm interested to see how this goes. I thought Shayna was going to win and want to challenge Becky Lynch. Charlotte winning. Obviously, I think she's going to want to challenge Becky Lynch. I don't see any reason why she would challenge Bayley at this point. And I wonder if somehow Shayna's going to work her way into another triple threat match for the title at Mania. So,
yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting to see how they go with this, but yeah, how the story's going to go. So, now the men's Rumble. This is the one we were live streaming live on YouTube, and thank you again, everybody, for the comments.
As we talked about on the stream, now, the best 14-man Rumble you've ever seen.
So. Obviously, one of the comments we got on there, somebody was quoting, and I think it was Tommy that said this. This is the worst book Rumble of all time. It sounds like something Tommy would have said. And yeah, it was frustrating. And that we'll give credit to the people that wrote this story, that wrote the layout of this match. It's hard to book these, but when we're watching these Rumbles, as much as we know who they want to win and everything like that, in a way we're just letting go and marking out for this stuff. And so as fans, yes, we were getting pretty upset. We don't want Lesnar to win. We don't want him to run through and just run roughshod, eliminate everybody one at a time. It would have been a waste. So yeah, if anything, us saying that was the worst booked one of all time, yeah, we were pretty angry the first half of the damn match. And I think the crowd was too. They were pretty dead. They didn't want to see it until Lesnar got eliminated, and then everyone was back in the game. And that Rumble turned out really, really well. They did a great job of bringing everybody down and then pulling everybody back in for the rest of the match. So
yeah, so when Lesnar first said he was going to be number one, I thought he would go through maybe the first 3-4 people before someone came in and then kind of stall them long enough to let the ring fill up.
yeah,
You kind of look at what they did. I mean, Elias, I saw this a couple days before the Rumble. I was looking at some predictions, and someone made the comment, Elias kind of always has to come in number 1 or 2
if he's going to do the guitar
his gimmick,
thing.
right? Like
Yeah.
with his gimmick, to kind of take some time to sing a song or whatever. So you look at kind of the first handful of them: Elias, Eric Rowan, Robert Roode. Not too upset about them sacrificing quick exits.
Yeah.
But there were a couple ones throughout Brock's run that I felt like, why? And not just the one you might think, like Morrison. He's just come back.
We got a slow-mo entrance, though.
We got the slow-mo
Yes, I
entrance.
think we got.
Kofi mentioned today on the podcast that John Morrison originally did the thing like what Naomi did, where he jumped to the rails or
And hung onto the wall.
yeah, and that was kind of Kofi's inspiration. Could have done at least one of those before he got eliminated again. Just something. He kind of just got thrown out.
See, it would have been funny if they'd have done that with Morrison, him hanging on the wall. Lesnar slides out of the ring and just throws him back down on the floor and then slides back in.
Or something.
Yeah.
And then, later on, MVP has a comeback. Why all that? Just to get thrown out again in 5 seconds. It's little, like a couple of those. And, of course, me personally, Cesaro.
Hey, you're saying you wanted him in the match.
He did. Okay, he gave him the match. He got in a hell of a bunch of European uppercuts. Let him lift him up once.
Just to show you can do it.
Something.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, even the commentators were like I said, I rewatched some of it, and they were like, oh, well, this is interesting. He's pound for pound one of the strongest men. Maybe he can do something. The ones that, of course, then Kofi comes out. He was the first one where like, okay, maybe he's going to stay in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned Kofi had the reason to get back at him. I kind of like what they did with the Mysterio Big E right after that.
Yes.
Wish it would have lasted a little bit longer.
Well, first of all, Big E said on Friday he was going to go all greased up because you can't throw him out. Shout out to the Prince of Hybrid Richie who was greasing him up.
Maybe Richie wasn't in Houston. Maybe he wasn't there to grease him up.
That's probably what it was. He should have been there. I'm just saying, He did say on Twitter, though, that, he's still greasy, but he doesn't have dry skin anymore. So cool like that. But yeah, it would have been funny to me if Big E had just kind of, pulled a bit of a Joey Ryan and just got himself greased up so they couldn't get thrown out, But yeah, they did a great spot with that, but make Brock look strong,
The Shelton thing was kind of funny because they have a history. And Nakamura, another one, he's your Intercontinental champ. Could have gotten in a little more offense before you toss him. Maybe last the full 2 minutes, throw him right before the guy comes in. So for a while, especially after MVP, we were real upset. But Brock was looking gassed at that point.
Yes.
And then Keith Lee.
Great to see them stand off. We knew how big Keith was. To see him pretty much eye to eye with Brock was pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
Yes. Strowman making an appearance, got a big pop.
Right. So then my only problem with that, Keith Lee and Braun Strowman should easily be able to eliminate Lesnar. Why they decided to fight each other, I know it's the booking, but man, that made me nervous.
I know. It is what it is, I guess, So, if anything, we all expected Keith Lee to make a pretty strong appearance. He had some offense in there.
He did. He knocked him down, and they made a big deal about that.
Ricochet came out. We thought he was going to go out quick, but then Drew McIntyre, and this is where the match turned. Ricochet, we realized, was not eliminated, and we were saying it all match. Will somebody just kick Lesnar in the balls?
Well, now we know why the thing from last Monday night happened. where Ricochet came out and said, "I'll fight you, Brock," and then Brock just kicked him in the teeth.
Yeah.
Well, now we know why.
Yes. It turned around. One shot to the balls, one Claymore later, and the crowd goes wild.
Okay.
So did we.
We did.
Yes.
Yes, WWE, you made a new superface.
Yes.
And yeah, okay.
And the chosen
McIntyre
one.
became the most over man right there. And I pretty much said the minute he kicked him, I was like, it's over. He's gonna win it.
He has to win it at
He
that
has to
point.
at the-
Yeah. Because if he doesn't, you're throwing a lot of heat on somebody, you know?
Yeah. Well, actually, we'll talk about some heat toward the end there, which they played well.
Yeah. Now, as big a pop as Drew McIntyre got for that, it is nothing compared to number 21, Edge.
Oh my God.
Was rumored he kind of was selling his wife Beth Phoenix.
Yes.
Of course, was in the earlier Rumble. It was rumored that he was cleared. We heard it for a while, nothing official, and dude looked great. Sometimes you see the legends come back and they can barely fit in their tights, but he came in
slender and jacked.
all that energy, just a little bit more gray.
What did we say? Old Man Logan.
Old Man Logan, yeah. Edge should run the Old Man Logan, rated R Old Man Logan kind of storyline here. But he came in, was delivering spears left and right. I mean, he looked like he hadn't lost a step. He looked great. Even just on his entrance alone, he was tearing up. You could tell he was getting goosebumps. He missed it. So
he came out with his usual energy, and then he just kind of had that look like, oh my God, like
this is amazing.
Yeah. And didn't look like he lost a step, man.
No, he didn't.
Although we don't know about his first spear because for some dumb reason the cameras decided to go to the fans. You know, I saw some people joking about this. It's cool to see fan reactions to nice things, but sometimes you feel like the WWE goes to fans so you know what to do. If you're watching it on TV, you're going to cheer, you're going to do whatever. Just show the action.
You know, they caught the reaction when he's walking to the ring, but once he gets to the ring, stick to the ring. And I think maybe they just hit the fan cut button one too many times in the truck or something like that. But either way, still a great show and still a huge pop. I mean, I've seen the reaction videos online. See our reaction. We went crazy for that too. Probably just as crazy we did for McIntyre eliminating Lesnar. I think the biggest face-off Edge had was against AJ Styles. And I feel like they could have done more, but we come to find out after he took a spear, AJ separated his shoulder and just really kind of covered it well. T and I were actually watching it a little bit earlier too. You could see the moment it happens and him telling everyone, you know, Corbin comes in, I think shortly after that, and he tells him, hey, don't touch my shoulder, it's hurt. And he kind of like walks over to Edge and says, you need to throw me out, kind of sort of thing. And so when Edge does throw him out, Carl Anderson kind of looks like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah, I noticed that night it happened.
With that night it happened. So they kind of had to cover audible. Hopefully, I've heard initial reports of separated shoulder. Hopefully he's good for WrestleMania because when they faced off, I said, this is a dream match. I want to see AJ versus Edge. And I really hope Raw's going on right now. Edge was supposed to address the crowd, but we're recording right now. We'll go back and watch it after we record. But I'm really hoping Edge is saying he wants to break a run through this, even at least through WrestleMania. And I do want to see Edge versus AJ Styles. That's a dream match of mine.
That'd be pretty awesome.
It'd be pretty cool to see. So,
a couple of the small things we get toward the end. Matt Riddle kind of felt like he got a little bit of the Walter treatment from Survivor Series.
he really did.
He came in, he kind of looked impressive, and then kind of got quickly eliminated.
Yeah, it made no sense. He comes in, gets his entrance, jump in, flip-flops are gone. He's kicking people. He's kicking some strong people. He's posing. And then Corbin just easily throws him out.
Yeah.
Made no sense to me. And, Corbin already has the heat. He doesn't need more heat. It makes no sense to me. Let Riddle stick around for a while. Whether that was punishment for a verbal altercation he had with Lesnar backstage, I have no idea. Who knows? Then reported people may hate on Riddle, his cockiness. Look, I like the surfer gimmick. I think it's funny. He can make those subtle references like he did to, a joint or something like that during the Worlds Collide.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, he didn't make the references, but
he was
there was a great interview with the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne.
The Broserweights together as a tag team.
Where he was just like, after Riddle did his whole spiel and Dunne's all straight face, and he's just like, all right, let me be blunt.
Blunt.
and Riddle's like, yeah. Then, the best part about it, if you go back and watch it on Worlds Collide, is just Pete Dunne, straight face, making all the marijuana references.
Yeah.
Subtly, but straight face, never breaks. It was funny.
I know my wife doesn't really like Matt Riddle. I kind of enjoy that he's speaking his mind, what he feels about Lesnar, what he feels about Goldberg, and maybe it's building real heat. Who knows? But you're setting up a pretty good match later on down the line, especially with Riddle having some MMA experience.
I mean, if something's there, Lesnar has no problems.
He'll make money with it.
Well, not only that, but he has no problem stiffing people. He did it to Braun a few times. He did it to Randy, but that was kind of he agreed to it basically. But let him fight. Like, let him have a match, even if you're gonna squash Riddle. Let's have a match and make it interesting.
Yeah, make something on there. Speaking of Orton, rated RKO reunion, tag team reunion. Funny thing was, like, you look good.
Yeah,
got some abs here going.
This like I've got 1 year left of my career. Orton. I don't know. He has 1 year left, but like I don't give a dang. I'll just do whatever I want. Is really entertaining.
Yeah.
He's just over the top funny now in certain spots, and he doesn't care. He's Orton. Like, you're not going to do anything to him.
Aleister Black had a decent showing. Roman Reigns came in, got kind of a mixed reaction from the crowd. They were heavily cheering him in the first match, but when he came out, there was quite a bit more boos in this one. And I think it was more, we didn't want him to win the Rumble. I'm happy he didn't. Of course, we know Drew McIntyre won. And I still think he's going to get the title shot either way.
The Fiend, probably.
Yeah, and then I think they were smart about that, especially with McIntyre eliminating Lesnar, like we said. If McIntyre doesn't win, you're putting heat on whoever does.
And, and obviously with his comeback, Edge stayed till the end. He was in the last three. Yeah. And so we were talking about that because the Rumble's history over this last decade where the fans get behind someone they want to win, Roman or Batista or someone's involved, and the fans crap on it. Like, there was that whole run through the middle of the decade.
Yeah.
So the way they pulled it off, I think, was smart because it came down to McIntyre, Edge, and Roman. Roman eliminates Edge to take the heat from that because the crowd booed when Edge went down, but then McIntyre knocked off Reigns. So you can't really be mad at McIntyre for eliminating Edge. Roman takes that heat. He's Roman. It doesn't matter, for his character. He'll bounce back from it.
Yeah,
it won't affect him much. So I think they did really well. You bring back Edge and keep him till the last three. Reigns is always Reigns. He's going to be there at the end. But they've said this is like his fourth runner-up to a Royal Rumble where he's the one tossed out at the very end. So,
yeah, it's still a great showing. McIntyre wins. He said on Raw tonight he's challenging Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Which, let's be honest, Lesnar's probably not going to wrestle again until WrestleMania. Hashtag Mr. Most Days Off. And it was really good. McIntyre, obviously emotional. This is kind of a big career thing, coming in as the chosen one, getting fired in what we jokingly call the day the music died, when three-man band was basically split up and only Heath Slater stayed. So making a name for himself as Drew Galloway, bringing that back, being big on Impact, being big everywhere, coming back, building up to NXT, getting injured, coming on the main roster and working his way back. I think there's a video circulating of a pub in Scotland, his hometown. When he won, they went nuts. It was pretty cool to see that. So he's got a whole country cheering for him as well.
And we've said since he's been back, like he's kind of been stuck the last year and a half with Dolph or Corbin. He was kind of always just like, or with Lashley, that kind of group of the top bad guys that aren't really just kind of together because they're bad guys. And he was capable of so much more. We've been calling for it, so I'm glad they pulled this trigger. I'm glad they did it. I know we'll talk about this a lot over the next couple months. Just don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple like always. Let him be the face. Let him get the run.
We'll go from there.
Yeah.
Mike, of course, won the number draw for the Women's Rumble that we had, and Tina won the Men's Rumble draw.
So there was it kind of worked out really awesome on the women's one because I chose Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then I got her. And so I've always been a Charlotte Flair fan, obviously. I've never said any negative things about her constant title wins or constantly being pushed. Obviously,
Hashtag liar. Interesting bit of trivia on the Men's Rumble. This is the first time that anyone who has entered at either 6, 16, or 26 has won the Royal Rumble.
Interesting.
So this, there's never been an entrant where the last agenda was 6. Even at 36, when they had the 40-man that one time, there's never been an entrant with that's won until yesterday. Drew McIntyre claiming it at coming in at number 16. So
a couple other things. Brock does set the record for the most consecutive
eliminations. 13.
Yeah, I guess it was 13 total in the end.
Yeah.
So he tied the record for the most in a Rumble, even though the 13 from Braun was in the Greatest Royal Rumble.
So do we really count that?
No.
That's annoying to me. Yeah, when you're throwing these numbers out there, the Greatest Royal Rumble doesn't count because it's 50 or 51, like the last one actually ended up being. So makes no sense.
And then, but he had the most consecutive. I guess it wound up being 13 as well consecutive.
Yeah,
I guess that makes sense. And then.
Anything else on the men's?
No, that's pretty. I mean, we covered pretty much most of it. So.
Yeah, they did a good job advancing some storylines in there as well.
And it wasn't frustrating. And, when you step back and you take a look at it, like we said earlier, we understand now where they're going. They really did make McIntyre a huge star because you got the fans so upset, so frustrated, and the pop he gets when he eliminates Brock is just insane. So again, just keep it simple. He's your face now, at least for right now. Keep him on the run. Don't complicate things like y'all did with Becky and Ronda last year and Charlotte.
I don't see any reason why they shouldn't.
Yeah.
This is a perfect setup to go with it. Thank you again to everybody that commented on our live stream live. It was really cool reading those, responding to them, and everyone that's sending out comments there on the videos we have out there now. Thank you again for that. Thanks for watching. Hit us up. As far as pick results on the show, Tommy went 4-4. Mike and I both went 5-3. And my wife killed it, 7-1.
Yep.
The only thing she got wrong, I believe, was the Women's Royal Rumble because she had picked Sasha Banks to enter, who Sasha Banks to win, who didn't even get to enter the Rumble. From what we found out later, she's actually not medically cleared. She's dealing with some injury issues, so we were wondering why she was noticeably absent. So now WrestleCast ratings on Royal Rumble as a whole: 0 to 5, 5 being WrestleMania 17, 0 being December to Dismember. Tommy submitted his rating. He's not here, but he's given it a 4 out of 5. Did enjoy the show. Some of the matches kind of lull. The Rumble matches were great. Obviously, you can see his thoughts on those matches on our live streams as well. He went through all the emotions. It was crazy. Him cheering when Alexa Bliss got eliminated really pissed me off, though. So, my wife Tina gave it a 4.25. She kills it with the picks, and then she had a great time with the show. I'm sure seeing Randy Orton was a plus for her as well. So yeah. I'm going to give this a 4.25 as well. It was a great event. Some of the matches in there were kind of but the Rumble matches were good. I won't say this is the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time, because that one to me is still 2007, just for the last 10 minutes of Shawn and Undertaker alone. That's still my favorite one. Plus, I was there. Still. So 4.25 for me. And Mike, what about you?
I think I'm just going to go there right there with 4.25. It was a really good show. I picked Charlotte. We all pretty much said it was Charlotte or Shayna. And then there was actually a report out from Meltzer that originally they had thought about Roman and Baszler winning, and then they switched it to McIntyre and Flair because of what leading up to the Rumble. So pretty much those were the main ones we had picked one way or the other, except for a few, like Tina picked Sasha. But
yeah.
So, it was a decent show, though. And the Rumble, like the Women's Rumble was fun all the way through. The Men's Rumble was fun after Brock goes out. And the individual matches, real solid. I think maybe Bayley and Lacey was the weakest one. And again, it wasn't horrible. It's just, given all the thing, I don't think Lacey was the strongest challenger, but that's just me.
All right. Our overall rating, 4.1875. Not too shabby. Good stuff. The Royal Rumble, arguably my favorite pay-per-view of the year. It's always a lot of fun to see this. We'll try and do some more live reactions on some other events this year. One possibility is Money in the Bank, because those two matches get a little bit crazy. So when those events come around, stay tuned to our YouTube channel. We might have some fun with that.
Yes.
So, just a bit of other news. Super Showdown confirmed for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on February 27th. It's going to be a Thursday again. So we'll see how much NXT talent shows up on the Friday SmackDown. And this, of course, is 2 days before AEW's Revolution pay-per-view as well. So interesting to see how that goes. Now that brings us into our segment for the 1 minute warning. Mike, do you have this week?
Sure.
We're talking Cesaro now? Have you ever said enough already or no?
Yeah, we'll recap my Cesaro thoughts.
For those new to the show, this is basically our minute each to just kind of, or whoever's on the show, talk about whatever. And just kind of minute.
So if you're new to the show,
yeah.
I'm a big Cesaro mark.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Go ahead. We'll make this part of the minute.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Go.
So, I mean, we followed Cesaro since he was on the Indies and came to WWE. My biggest thing is I felt after WrestleMania 30 when he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, the first one ever, picking up Big Show and tossing him out. I thought they had such a chance to go with him, and every step of the way, they won't pull the trigger on him as a singles competitor. They tried one time, and he had some promo time, and he kind of flubbed a line here or there, and then they just threw it away. We're like, okay, never mind. He's constantly one of the best wrestlers. Like, I've listened to podcasts like the New Day sing his praises. Other people are always talking about how great he is, and he just puts on entertaining matches. There's YouTube clips of Cesaro with one of the craziest hot tags, just like taking out everybody in the match, running around, jumping to the outside. In all seriousness, I want to see a match with him and Brock Lesnar. If Brock can go with AJ and Daniel Bryan and all these guys, I want to see him go against Lesnar because I completely believe he could lift Lesnar, do some suplexes on him in a very way that you wouldn't think possible. Push Cesaro. I'm always going to say that.
All right. Maybe we'll see it down the road sometime. So
it'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I honestly, I'm all talked out. I don't really have anything this week. Honestly, a lot of my comments we've kind of talked about already, and just stuff I had on the live stream. There's really not much else I can say. So, I mean, honestly, what I want to talk about, we're going to talk about at the end of the show, actually. So, our Twitter account, of course, at @CCG_WrestleCast. You can subscribe to the Countdown City Geeks YouTube channel. Next week, I'm trying to line up an interview for the show. I'm not sure if I can get one. If not, we're going to take a little bit of break from our normal episodes or see what I come up with. I have no idea. It's too early for a blooper reel this year. So,
no, but if you're a new subscriber, go back and check out the blooper reels.
Yes.
That was up from a couple weeks ago.
Check out some of the interviews that I have done already
and
as well.
previous interviews, sure.
Yeah, so look back on the playlist, see what we got. If I don't have anything next week, in 2 weeks, we will be previewing NXT TakeOver Portland. Really enjoying the fact that A, NXT is getting their own pay-per-view separate from the main roster ones. And B, this pay-per-view is actually going to be on a Sunday. So I feel like they're treating it like a third brand, which is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, because I didn't even really talk about it. In the women's, it did, because you don't have as many women. Mm-hmm. The men didn't get as much of an NXT outside of a couple things.
Yeah, there really wasn't much there. Yeah. So, but I like the fact that they are getting something separate from the mainline ones opposite the big four. There wasn't, there's Worlds Collide and whatnot this week. But I really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to that in a couple of weeks. But if we do get an interview lined up, I'll probably post news about it before I record on our Twitter account, and you can send any questions there. So now, before we close, this was kind of a shock to us yesterday as we were getting ready for the Rumble. My wife and I and the kids just got back from doing some grocery shopping, running a few errands, when I got the notification on my phone that Kobe Bryant had passed away. Mike and I and everyone here is pretty much huge Spurs fans. So we've had a love-hate relationship with Kobe over the years. Yeah. That rivalry, Spurs-Lakers, those title runs, Kobe even had said if it wasn't for the Spurs, they would have won 10 in a row. And I think he was frustrated by that, how much the Spurs gave him hell in the playoffs. I've always respected Kobe because when everybody was calling Bruce Bowen a dirty defender, and I'm looking at you, Ray Allen, Kobe was the one that's saying, you know what? It's a challenge. I look forward to it. I love how he defends. I have to step up my game against him. He respected Bruce Bowen as a defender. He saw that. He never backed away from a challenge. Sure, he made some mistakes in his life, but he had a remarkable career. And do I think he's the greatest of all time? Personally, no. And I think Kobe would agree with that it's still Michael Jordan. That's just me. I mean, Kobe outlies Jordan as well. I think somebody had I think it was Tommy Dreamer had said, so many kids of our generation grew up wanting to be like Mike, and Kobe went and did it. So the heartbreak for me in this is that he was with his daughter at the time of his death. Can't imagine what they were going through as the helicopter was going down. But yeah, that news is tough. She was an up-and-coming basketball player. She had plans to go to UConn. They honored her today at a game with their jersey for her, even though she's 13 years old. But yeah, it is rough. And as a dad, I hugged my kids a little bit tighter yesterday. It was hard to see. But Mike, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was always a love-hate with Kobe. You know, there's a lot of people in San Antonio that would always jump on the Lakers bandwagon and love Kobe and Shaq, and I could never do it. Like I'm diehard San Antonio, and I knew he was a great player. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie and try to sit here like, oh, I loved Kobe. I didn't like him because most of our seasons ended because of him and Shaq when we were really making those runs. You know, they came out and Kobe had I guess done an interview earlier this year and said that if, you know, the Spurs were always their toughest competition and that if the Spurs weren't there, he felt him and Shaq could run 10 in a row. Well, I kind of feel the opposite for the Spurs. You know, I feel like we won in 2003 and then, you know, we went the odd years. And I feel like even before that, after 99, if, you know, Kobe and Shaq don't show up, you know, we have a few more titles.
Yeah.
And it honestly wasn't until more recent years where I was like almost sticking up for him because people started like, oh, well, who's better, LeBron and Jordan? I'm like, why is it only those two? Like, how is Kobe not in that? Like, to what he did to us, that is one of the greatest basketball players to ever play. Now, also, you know, me personally, I'm just going to say Tim Duncan's the greatest because I'm a homer, but
he is.
in the terms in terms of that context, all of a sudden it started becoming LeBron versus Mike, and I was like, how y'all just going to pass? I mean, if you're going to make that conversation, how'd y'all just pass Kobe over?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Know?
Yeah. I know it's a wrestling show, but we're talking a little bit of sports right now.
Just kind of finish it off.
It affected everything.
So, but I kind of mentioned this in a post yesterday on some social media. All the sports, all that stuff, you kind of forget sometimes these are just human beings with families and stuff. And I hadn't thought about Kobe except for, like they mentioned last weekend, that LeBron had passed him on the scoring. So my dad texted me, and me and my wife were finishing off the last season of The Ranch on Netflix, and my dad and I see the thing and I kind of read it, and you kind of have to reread it. Like, am I what? So I click on the link, and then I mean, when it comes down to it, you know, a human being with his daughter and other people that were part of that team, and you know, some other parents. Just sickening the way it happens. You know, I guess it would almost be a different thing if we found out he had some disease and he had time, or you know, if this is 30 years down the road and he's just old. But it comes out of nowhere. It was a very tragic, you know, way it happened. You know,
very
so
young
just,
too.
Yeah, just very young. I mean, not too much older than us. That's even.
Yeah, he's 41. I'm turning 39 this year.
I'm turning 39 after you, but yeah. So yeah, it's sad. It's tragic. And I'm not, and I would never deny he was a huge figure in basketball. You can see by the way the world's reacted. You know, obviously being out of LA, that, you know, have such a big population. You know, this affected everything. It's very few people didn't know who he was, or you know, or what he did. So just sad and tragic. You know, seeing the Spurs respond. You know. Tim and Pop, you know, still being a part of the team right now. They played against him all the time. They were devastated. Becky too, you know, has been a part of this organization for a long time, and just real sad to see.
The tributes have been great. The Cody even wearing a Kobe jersey last night at the game. It's rough. The Mavericks retiring 24 in their organization. I don't think it should be a league-wide thing, but I think he's going to the Hall of Fame for sure. We were all looking forward to this Hall of Fame class because it was him, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett. That's already going to be stacked. It should still be that anyway. But it's rough, and it's sad to see this go. This is one of those moments where you're always going to remember where you were when you found out. Just because it was such a tragic thing. But most important, most shocking the most is that a daughter or some daughters and a wife lost their husband and father. And that's the hardest part. But our thoughts are with his wife, his surviving kids,
all those involved.
The whole Lakers family, the city of LA. As much as, you know, it's a love-hate thing with San Antonio, it's going to be weird to talk basketball and not think, when you think of the Lakers, that, Kobe's not going to be around to even make appearances backstage, not even see him at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony that he should be at. So, but from a couple of Spurs fans, and we're all Spurs fans on this show, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. Hated you in the 90s and 2000s, but respected you always. So with that, we'll do our sign off. This is Mike.
No fear in 2020.
And I'm JC. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. And pro wrestling is real.
People are fake.
See you next time.